Hey folks, it's me again. Please excuse my first video. I'm new to the whole YouTube thing, so a little bit of anxiety. My presentation wasn't as good as it could be, and I hope to improve going forward. So today's topic is a video posted by the research guy. He posted a video yesterday, which I believe was May 13th. It was a live video. In this video, he's going on to describe the western coast of the United States, California. Of course, at that point in time, 1607, I believe, is when he posted a picture of a map. It was when that map was drafted, and he goes on to an account from the 1720s. The reason we're touching on that is the fact that, again, he's posting misinformation. He's now attempting to say that California was not connected to the United States. What he's failing to realize is that at that point in time, all of that portion was under Spanish rule. It was Spanish territory at that point in time. And with the location he's looking at is actually further down. So if you actually look at a map of Mexico, you can Google this, you're going to see a long portion, which is still connected to the mainland in the northernmost point, but it forms a peninsula. Of course, whoever had drafted this map in 1607 might not have traveled that far north for one reason or another, but it is in fact connected to the mainland. But it is a peninsula. It is separated by a portion of water, but it's not what he's trying to make it seem. He's also talking about a queen that was in some fantasy novel named Queen Californius, and then trying to say that, you know, this is based on an actual person, which it just wasn't. I mean, people made up fantastical tales. You go all throughout literature. I mean, there's plenty of accounts and plenty of stories of just, you know, fantasy novels. I mean, Beowulf being one of the oldest, as far as being the oldest fantasy fiction. I believe it's classified as an epic poem, but it's one of the oldest Anglo-Saxon stories, which dates back to 1100 AD, somewhere around there. So anyways, you know, this guy is, and I may be incorrect about Beowulf, you can look it up, but it is in fact a very antiquated poem. The point is, though, is, you know, this guy's posting misinformation. He then goes on to say, you know, there's a picture of some African-American gentlemen at some kind of a camp, and it says that they're Florida natives. What he's doing is he's conflating two definitions of native. Now, native, as it applies to Native Americans or certain native species of flora or fauna, deal with an indigenous species. You also have a definition that is in reference to people that just habitate an area, like somebody that's a native New Yorker or a native like a native Montreal resident. That's simply somebody that was born there. It doesn't necessarily mean that person is indigenous. This person could be from India. This person could be from China. They could be from Russia. They could be from France. You know, they could be from anywhere else in the world ethnically, but because, you know, their parents migrated there and subsequently had them, and you know, they were born there, they would then be considered native born, but it's not necessarily the same as an indigenous species. So, you know, he's conflating two definitions, and he's doing this purposefully. You know, from what I've seen, he's a relatively well-read individual, so he knows precisely what he's doing. He's not just, you know, making mistakes. He's doing this purposefully. He then goes on to another picture of the famous Indian fighters, which were a regiment of African-American buffalo soldiers. He's trying to twist the definition to say that these guys were Indians and that this is proof of Native Africans, which that's not the truth. Anybody that knows the history of the buffalo soldier knows that, you know, these people were brought in, these African-American people were brought in by the U.S. cavalry with the sole purpose of eradicating the Plains natives. So again, he's purposefully twisting information. Excuse my vape. You know, and again, you know, for somebody that calls themselves the research guy and, you know, takes on that name, you know, how are you going to call yourself that? Say that you're spreading the truth when you're clearly lying. I mean, that's just a blatant lie. The first picture of the African American folks down in Florida, it's in the Library of Congress. It's not hidden history. It's on the Library of Congress website. I'll post the link. I'm also going to, in the description, I'm also going to post a link to a map of Mexico, and I'm also going to post a link to the famous Indian fighters. all of which is public information. You literally just have to type in their names into Google, and all this information will come up. As a matter of fact, the portion that he's referring to as California to this day still has the name California, as that entire region did. Again, it was under Spanish control at that point in time before, Mexico was separated from the United States, and before America, the United States had gained control of the southern portion of the United States. But from Florida all the way across into California, New Mexico, all these, Colorado, this was all Spanish territory. This is stuff. He's making it seem like it's not stuff they taught at school. This stuff was all taught in world history. It's all taught in U.S. history. I remember learning this stuff myself, in 8th and 9th grade. So he's being completely disingenuous and, again, pushing that false narrative. And, be aware that people will come with photographs, especially if they're good at video editing and inserting photographs into their videos and things like that, and they will make it seem like it's absolutely legitimate. But do your own research. Don't just take somebody's word for it. As a matter of fact, don't take my word for it. I have no problem with you Googling anything that I say, and offering a rebuttal. If I'm incorrect, I will correct myself, and I will admit to it, because I have no problem. Again, as stated in my previous video, I'm all about spreading the truth. And I'm all about, exposing these people that are fakes. They're fakes and they're frauds. And again, they're bilking people. These guys are modern day snake oil salesmen. They're selling a fantasy, and a lot of people will subscribe to it. A lot of them primarily because they're too lazy to do their own research. And so they find this stuff and it's fascinating. Of course it's fascinating. A lot of fiction is. I have plenty of pages that I'm subscribed to on YouTube because the people tell interesting stories. I love Godzilla movies. I love video games and fantasy movies outside of my profession. Everybody loves a good fantasy. Everybody loves a good fantasy. But make no mistake, that's precisely what this is. It's not fact. And I'm sorry for the folks that, have fallen prey to these kind of folks. But they're lying to you. They're is 100% unadulterated lie, and they know what they're doing. That's what makes it the most alarming, is they know that they're telling lies. How could you not? You call yourself the research guy. You have access to all these resources. You know where to look for certain information, and then you post this information and you purposefully either conflate definitions or completely twist the history that is known history. Absolutely 100% known history. And there are still living descendants today of these people. So these Buffalo Soldiers and whatnot, take everything with a grain of salt, that these folks say out here. Go through their alleged research and media, with a fine-tooth comb. Do your own research. Google's easy. If you can, Google a showtime for a movie, or Google where the nearest restaurant is that you want to eat at, or the nearest gas station, you can Google, what these folks are trying to put out there. So this is just going to be a short video. Thanks for listening. If you do, if you don't, well, just remember this: 1 million people can believe a lie, and that'll never make it the truth. The truth is simply what it is. It's never going to be anything but the truth. So I'll leave you with that. You folks have a great day, and thanks for stopping by.